I'm getting rid of it. Contrary to what the trolls might tell you, yes, I can sleep at night. Today's video is made possible by the kind and generous support of my Patreon community. Is it just me, or do we say goodbye to summer, send the kids back to school, and blink, and it's Christmas Eve? I don't know why it happens. There's the same number of days between August 24th and December 24th each year, but each year December rolls around and I'm scrambling for things last minute. I can't find some of my stuff. I have too much of one thing, not enough of another, and that ends this year. Today I am tackling the project of getting my hostessware and other stuff in that general category under control. We're doing some decluttering, some reorganizing. I know many of you, probably half of you, are farther along in your prep for the holidays than I am, and the other half of you is probably so angry right now that I even dared to mention the H word. No matter where you fall on that spectrum, I'm glad you're here. I hope you get some gentle motivation, some encouragement throughout this video. And even if you're not planning on hosting anything this year, I hope you'll stick around and hang out with me, because it's always fun to be able to declutter and do housework with a friend. So if you have any projects to work on around your house, why don't you get on up? I'm gonna dive into these cabinets, because what I've got going on over here, it's not working for me. Okay, here are our buffet units in question. This is much like a lot of things in my life. This is a do with what you got sort of situation. And oh my gosh, as you can see, the doors aren't even opening. We've got random stuff just helter-skelter in there. Things are stacked up and super wonky. There has got to be a better way. This is kind of the problem child cabinet. This other cabinet over here is actually much more organized, and I feel like the collections in here are much more suited to this space. But I will still be going through things in that cabinet just to make sure that I'm not missing something that I could declutter out. I have a third cabinet, which is from the same line from IKEA. These are the Hofstad cabinets that I just added little feet to. Since we have space on this wall, I figured I could add a little bit of extra storage just to give our collection some breathing room in addition to the decluttering that I'm going to do. So I'm gonna wait on this because the decluttering might be enough. I'm gonna be very honest about what I use, what I don't use. In fact, let's just start here. This bowl. I've had this for a couple of years. It is honkin'. This is such a big bowl. It leaks like crazy. So the only thing that it's good for is dry stuff like chips, popcorn, that sort of thing. And it is such a bulky piece. It is so difficult to store. I feel like I could use this as a weapon. Like if anyone tries to break in, it's like, you better watch out for the bowl. Actually not, because I'm getting rid of it. Oh, things are falling out at me. Okay. We had a family over the other night, and my friend was like, hey, can I help you toss the salad? I was like, sure, go grab a salad bowl from the hostessware buffet. She opened the door and things were falling out. It was so embarrassing. It was like the stinking Zaboomafoo closet. We host people in our home all year long, not just the holiday time. And on any given week, we can be serving 10 to 25 people. That's family, friends. We have a church home group Bible study that we do weekly. And now as we get into the fall time, there are football games and of course the holidays and stuff like that that we're looking forward to. So a good collection of hostessware for me is really important. There's just some stuff in here, like a chocolate orange wrapper that just needs to go. Random spoon, another bowl, little bread baskets. I use those a lot. Okay, this is reminding me of a question that I got on a recent Q&A that I put out on my Instagram. I asked you guys if you had any questions regarding hosting, holiday hosting, hosting in general, and there were so many that came in. Justina Malin said, drinkware for kids, we usually do solo cups, but would love to do something nicer. Any recommendations? I think I got these at Michael's, but I've seen them sold on Amazon too. They're just little like milk bottles, like mini milk bottles, and they have a twist-on lid with a straw. I serve kids drinks out of these. If they tip over, they don't spill very bad, and then I can like switch out little stickers on them depending on the holiday. I've also done them like no stickers, and they work for any time we have kids over, whether it's like holiday or just like, let's hang out. I have this little basket that I keep kids supplies in specifically. Thinking if I do expand to this third smaller cabinet, that cabinet would be kids stuff and possibly coffee serving items. We shall see. I also have this separate bin for serving utensils. My mom and I did a holiday hosting Q&A video last year, and we both agreed that one of the most valuable things that you can get, and it does not have to be expensive, you can find these at the dollar store, like a 3-pack for $1, are tongs. Is there anything, while I'm here, we don't use this. These little wooden tongs are basically useless. Every time we get those out to serve with them, I'm like, I need to remember just to toss those, because I have seen so many people get so annoyed with trying to pick something up and like the stuff just falls out of them, so I can declutter those. Sarah, with 3 H's, that's unique, Wood said buffet or family style. A few other people also asked, like, how do you serve food when you have people over? And there's so many great things to be said about buffet style. It's pretty much what I exclusively do. Like if Weston and I have another couple over, like just 2 more in addition to our family, we might do family style and serve from the table. But to answer your question, buffet style. That's really what we do, which is why I have a lot of these serve tiers. I have had this tiered little tray. It's like a 2-tiered ceramic tray for many years. Unfortunately, this one is crooked. When you assemble it all together, which is kind of another knock against it, that it requires work to set it up. But when you do set it up, it's tilted. And other than looking wonky, it also doesn't function as well as it could. So I think I'm gonna part from this one because I find myself not reaching for it when I'm setting up my buffet. Another thing I'm not really reaching for, it takes up a lot of space, it's clunky and bulky, is this Lazy Susan. I really feel like this is just extra. It's so dusty, like I've hardly used this thing at all. I don't really like maybe piles, but I am kind of putting it separate from my declutter pile just so that I can give it a second thought right before I say, nope, it's going. I've got this set of nesting tiers that you can separate and have side by side. They're a little bit different in height. I love having a height difference on something that I'm serving. That way you can access things at different levels. It also adds a little bit of visual interest and dimension. These nest inside each other, so they only take up as much room as the larger one, and I'm gonna keep those because those have worked great. A lot of the time in decluttering videos or when you hear about minimalism concepts, I've shared this concept before. It's get rid of doubles. And if I had a third one of these gravy boats, I would probably be getting rid of the third one. But I have found over the many years of hosting that I absolutely need 2. But that's gonna look different for you if you have a smaller crowd or if you have more people that you're serving than I do. Maybe you would actually need more than I have. This is really the spot that's not working for me. Hey, big white, all-purpose ceramic platter, that is a must-have for me. I have used the crap out of that thing. I love having a divided like veggie tray. I've also done desserts out of this, so like apples and pretzels and that sort of thing with like a caramel or a chocolate dip in the middle. This is super versatile. I've used it for so many different things. I've done chips with a variety of dips. Here's a big tray that I have had for so many years. I've had this, I want to say, since the year we moved into our old house, and I use it every single time I have people over. Every single time. Okay, I've taken the majority out of this cabinet. I have it all kind of sitting around here with that decluttering pile going, that one Lazy Susan in the maybe pile. And you may notice kind of a theme here with the serveware that I have. And I feel like this goes along really well with this question that I got from Mrs. Sarah Harrison. Newbie hostess here with nearly no serveware. What is the most worth investing in to start out? White. You'll notice that the majority of what I have here is boring white. I mean, like everything here, except for the few wood pieces that I have, which I kind of use as just like a little accent. These are so versatile. They work for every holiday, every occasion. You can dress them up or dress them down, like a basic white platter or a basic white gravy boat or these basic white bowls, these serving bowls that I have. Literally used these for everything from the most casual Super Bowl football party to a literal wedding, and a nice wedding at that. One of my favorite places to get stuff like this is Marshall's, TJ Maxx, TK Maxx if you're in the UK. I think that's what it's called. They have by far the best deals. Like the majority of what I have here, I've gotten from there. The food on a platter, the cookies on the platter, the salad in the bowl, that is really what people are paying attention to. They are not paying attention to the fact that you have the same basic white ceramic bowl for every holiday or get together that you host. I've literally not gotten a comment about it. So to answer your question, Sarah, the majority of what I have here is white, and it just makes it so much more simple. It goes with everything. I say majority because I do have just a couple of pieces that are more holiday focused. I have that one turkey serving bowl, and then these couple of like Christmas themed things. If I had to downsize, if I didn't have as much storage, I would, like, the holiday specific things would absolutely be the first things to go. Because why would I have something taking up space if I'm only using it once a year? That's a very common, strong minimalist principle, but you know me. I'm a misfit minimalist. I don't always do things by the book, even though simple living and concepts of minimalism have really, really improved my life. So much so that I've freed up enough space in my brain and in my life by using minimalism concepts that I can justify keeping things that I only use once or twice a year. And contrary to what the trolls might tell you, yes, I can sleep at night. Okay, the rest of what I have in this cabinet are just my collections of things like plates, my stemware, like my long stem glasses. Little quilted containers have actually worked really, really well for us. So I am going to work now to put things back in, with the exception of obviously the stuff that I decluttered out, and the bin that I have for kids items and anything here that I could use for serving coffee or drinks. It's a bit of comic relief to poke fun at the trolls, and honestly, the majority of my comments I get are super positive and supportive, and I love to be able to share some of that encouragement back at ya. So if there is an area of your life where you're feeling like maybe even after doing some simplification or decluttering, you're not as minimal as some other people that you see on the internet, I just want to say it's all good. And a question I often get is there an area of your life that you think you don't consider yourself a minimalist in? I've shared it before, books in our house. I don't really care how many books we have, especially because I educate my children from home. It's kind of something that I love to be surrounded by, so no big deal there. And because hosting is something that is so important to both me and my husband, having a really good core supply of items that help us do what we love to do. Hosting is like a love language for us. It makes things so much easier, but finding the things that are extra, that aren't getting used, that are collecting dust, it definitely feels good to be able to say goodbye to these items and free up some space both in my physical storage as well as in my mind. I got what I wanted to keep in here to fit nicely, and I'm also kind of going through the motions of would it be like this Friday, for instance, when we have people over, to grab my tiers, to grab my serving platters. Is the in and out something that's not just doable for me who really knows the system, but for a guest who wants to help out, or one of my kids, or Weston? Here in the middle of the top, I have those more seasonal items. This is the hardest spot to access with these sliding doors and the way this works. And it's also the pieces that I access and use the least. So I felt like that made sense. Guys, I'm already feeling better with the progress that I've made today. I'm literally envisioning our Thanksgiving dinner, our Christmas dinner, actually the prep for it. I'm envisioning the prep for it going so much more smoothly and stress-free. And when the host is not stressed, the guests are not stressed. That's actually one of the points that my mom made in that video that we filmed last year, saying you want to bless your guests, not stress your guests. I could not agree more. And I would take it a step further to say, focus on blessing them versus impressing them. We have all been to those parties or get-togethers where it's obvious from the moment you drive into the driveway that it's all about the host wanting to impress you. And it's okay as the host to go the extra mile and to have the nice food or the nice decorations and stuff like that, but it really all boils down to the heart of it all and the heart attitude. And I have felt more welcome and more blessed in spaces where we're eating off of paper plates. The decor is from the dollar store. The food actually isn't even the most delicious food I've ever eaten, but I feel so thought of and so blessed and so surrounded by the hospitality and the intentionality of the get-together, the dinner, the gathering, the holiday, whatever it is. That mindset of blessing my guests, not impressing my guests. And when I'm focused on blessing them, it does take work still. But it feels like everything falls into place so much more naturally. So I just wanted to share some of that encouragement with you. So I have this basket of kids' table stuff set aside. I also grabbed some like beverage specific pieces. I also have some like coffee serveware items. And so I am feeling like this third cabinet would be beneficial, a good idea. Typically, I've said it so many times before, like don't buy extra storage, don't buy storage solutions or organizing solutions until you've done the decluttering and the inventorying. But we live pretty far away from the nearest IKEA. We happened to be there. I knew that I possibly wanted a third unit. I had already measured out the space, so I bought it. But at least I held off assembling it until I had done this initial decluttering. So I think now the next natural thing to do would be to assemble this cabinet. I think it's going to be really beneficial to have this extra space just so that I can easily access and use these items. So while I assemble this IKEA unit, I'm going to pick a few more questions to answer for you guys, either in a voiceover or I'll do a little split screen and share with you some of my experience and hopefully be able to shed some light on these questions that you guys sent in. One of the questions that has come up the most whenever I talk about hosting, and when it came up with this Q&A, is how to keep food warm. Han JB asked, keeping food warm or cold for that matter. So I have a few different strategies for this. I like to use counter electric warmers. They just plug in, they have a flat, large surface. Bakeware, pots and pans can go on these, like anything that is okay in the oven or on a stovetop is okay on these warming pads. You can set a timer on them, you can adjust the temperature. They are wonderful. I have also used chafing dishes in the past and will continue to use them because that's also a great option. These warming options are also great for another purpose, and it kind of covers another question that I've gotten a lot, which is how do you time all of your dishes to be warm and ready at the same time for when you're ready to serve dinner. Warming pads, chafing dishes, crock pots, that sort of thing, that covers a multitude of sins, because something that you cooked and finished hours ago, if it's something that can keep, like mashed potatoes or stuffing or something like that, it can wait for several hours, or you can even pop it in the fridge and bring it back out in time to warm back up on those warming pads or those chafing dishes by the time your guests arrive. So it's not really a matter of timing everything anymore for me. Before I got the chafing dishes or warming pads, I was playing that game of like, how am I gonna get everything out and warm at the same time? I don't have to worry about that anymore. Those things that I've purchased have been worth every penny, and I will link some of my favorites in the description box. Lots of questions here also about how do you know when you have enough, or how do you get enough but not too much? Weston and I always purposely get too much. Even back when our budget was tighter and it wasn't as affordable for us to buy a bunch of food to feed everyone, any of those leftovers can literally feed our family throughout the rest of the week or the next day or two. So for us, nothing is going to waste, therefore nothing is too much, because it will eventually get eaten. We have had charcuterie boards, leftover dessert, leftover proteins and sides, and sometimes we will actually package those things up and send them home with people, or we will just keep them in our fridge and enjoy leftovers throughout the rest of the week. It always works out. Oh, this is so sweet. Mrs. Alicia P. Anderson said, not a question, I hosted my first Thanksgiving last year, and because of your video, it went so well. She's talking about the video from last year that my mom and I did. I'm so glad you enjoyed that video. It was really fun to make, and I think it's a really helpful one. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's linked in the description box. Today's a new day, and I got that cabinet assembled, got the doors on. I am waiting for the cabinet pull hardware to arrive. I ordered the same little leather pulls that I got for the other cabinets so that they all match. I feel like everything is looking nice and cohesive. I decided to put the smaller new cabinet in the middle just to add that balance of the two larger on either side, rather than having the two larger together and then just a small one. I feel like it would have looked just tacked on to the end. So I feel like this looks really nice. It takes up the whole length of the wall, which definitely anchors it a little bit more. And if in the future we are not able to do our custom cabinetry, or we just change our mind about this, I feel like I could live with this as a more permanent fixture now that I have the three of them put together here. Not to mention the fact that this third cabinet adds that extra space for storage to give our collection a little bit of breathing room, ease of grabbing and going. Right now, I've been working on some table linens. Annie Blevins 82 says, I love the look of table linens, but I'm always intimidated by wrinkles. How do you deal with this? Your tables always look lovely. That's very sweet of you. Okay. Wrinkles for linens are a non-issue for me, and I learned this a long time ago when I was doing a lot of wedding planning, coordinating, decorating for people. The professional caterers, the professional rental companies with their tables and linens and stuff like that, they literally throw their tablecloths out, their table runners out, wrinkly onto the tables, and by the time people are seated, those wrinkles have either completely worked themselves out or you don't even notice them anymore, because you throw decor, florals, lights, candles, place settings, cutlery, plates, all of that. No one is noticing if there are little wrinkles here or there. So I have just taken that and run with it. I have never steamed or pressed any of my tablecloths or runners. My linen, these are like 100% linen napkins. These do get rather wrinkly, and so sometimes I will dampen these and then throw them into my dryer on a quick dry and put them onto the table at the place setting still warm, and I've had really good luck with that. And speaking of table linens, I've kind of sorted them out. I grabbed a bin down from Haley's closet. She wasn't using it anymore, and I put my tablecloths into this one. So I've got placemats and napkins in this bin, tablecloths and runners in here, and I think I'm going to use this third smaller cabinet for my table linens. There's bin number 1, there's bin number 2, and then on the lower shelf, I'm going to put the kids' stuff. I actually grabbed this bin out of the boys' closet. You wanna know the difference between boys and girls? Oh my. This one is definitely looking a little bit janky. I am determined to not go out and buy anything new for this project. If down the road there's an absolute need, I will replace things or refresh things, but right now, it's what you do with what you got. So I'm actually going to put paper products and little decor. I always get activities and stuff like that. I went to Michael's early and picked up some pieces. If you want some more details about the pieces that I got, I actually have a little shop with me video that I posted on my Patreon. It's up right now, and I will have that linked in my description box. I like to have fun little things for the kids' table so that they feel special and thought of. The kids' table is always really close to the adult table. They're never sequestered or secluded or made to feel like they have to stay there or anything, but the kids always look forward to being there, whether it's friends or our cousins. I love these little milk bottles like I was showing you earlier. I'll probably buy a few more this year because some of our cousins have graduated out of like the baby and toddler stage and are now at like the, you know, little kid stage. This is gonna go in there as well. I have a little bit of room beside it, but again, I'm okay with having that elbow room. It's kind of the whole idea behind having this cabinet. So now that that is in there, I have all of this space freed up on the top of this cabinet. And I think I'm going to transfer beverage, coffee, and other stuff like that into here. I already have some beverage stuff in here. This beverage dispenser, coffee pods for the Keurig. I do have an espresso machine, which I use for daily coffee, and then I also offer it to guests. Sometimes people don't want espresso, and it's easy for them to just help themselves. I have these crocks up here that I put, one has decaf coffee, one has regular coffee. Weston also drinks these for his morning coffee because it's quieter at 4:30 in the morning when he's off to work than our espresso machine is. Rearrange these chafing dishes just a little bit. There's some extra room here and I know exactly what I'm gonna put there. Our disposable napkins, plates, and cutlery basket. I bring this out for when we have casual get-togethers and barbecues and stuff like that. Right now it could be refilled and I actually have all of these products up at the top shelf of our pantry, and we take from that bulk section and pop it into here, and then we put this out on the counter. I have had this for so many years. Actually, a friend of mine gave this to me. She had it probably since the 90s, and it is still going strong, so it can live right there in that section. Let me give you a little tour of what's in these cabinets now. Starting in the one we just worked in, we've got drinks at the top, coffee supplies, beverage dispenser, coasters, coffee cups, pitcher, and some room to spare. We've got our hostess basket, our chafing dishes. On the bottom, close those doors. In this cabinet, which I can't wait for those little hardware pulls to arrive, we've got the table linens at the top, the kids' table stuff at the bottom. In this cabinet, which was the first one we worked on, we have our serving platters at the top, seasonal stuff here in the middle, tiered servers, and then my little gravy boats there underneath them, my serving bowls and bread bowls, serving utensils, and then all of my protected or formal dinnerware like stemware, plates, and cutlery in this one. We even have a little bit of room to spare in this as well. That makes me very, very happy. Really can't think of anything that I need moving forward. Maybe a good sweeping job. Maybe that's it. But as far as my collection goes, I think we're good. I didn't add anything this year. In fact, I took out some things. So here's my declutter box of stuff that I just don't need. You guys weighed in on last week's video with feedback about the height of where I placed this painting. It is gonna come down, and I actually ordered a couple of Amish-made wrought iron sconces for taper candles that I'm gonna put on either side, and I think that would be just a very beautiful finishing touch. If I have that part of the project finished before this video goes out, then I will insert a little clip for you guys of how this wall turned out and that new cabinet pull hardware for the new cabinet that I have here. But I wanted to end this video with this question because it was a common one that I got. Allie S. Whitaker said, how do you avoid getting stressed out about all the things that need to happen? Like I said earlier, keeping in mind the blessing your guests versus impressing your guests mindset helps so much. But when it comes to like the nitty gritty, the actual like work of getting things done, my two biggest pieces of advice is number one, simplify. You knew I was gonna say it. I am all about making sure that everything that I have in any collection that I have in my home, whether it's my clothing, my homeschool supplies, my hostessware supplies. Everything has a function. Everything is actually going to get used. Extra stuff, like the stuff that I decluttered out, it's just noise. It's just extra stuff that you have to shift around to get through to find what you need. The second piece of advice that I have for this is to start early. It's the reason why I'm posting this video in September. So many of you, like I said at the beginning of this video, are gonna feel like even mentioning the word holidays is like cringe-worthy to you. And that's okay. Honestly, I actually don't want to be thinking about the holidays right now. It's still, when I'm filming this video, it's still technically summer. And we are soaking it up. We are enjoying it for all it has left to offer. But for my Canadian friends, you guys have your Thanksgiving way earlier than we do, in October. I know there's lots of hosting opportunities and get-togethers and stuff like that right around the corner for many of us. And then looking forward into the holiday season, it will be here before we know it. And each year I start a little bit earlier, not because I'm a YouTuber, not because I want content, but because my mental health is very important to me. And where I am mentally, I believe, dictates how good of a hostess I am, and how much I get to settle in and enjoy the time having people over in my house, and how much my kids get to enjoy working with mom, preparing with mom, hosting with mom. You hear the whole happy wife, happy life, happy mom, happy home, happy hostess, happy guests. I know that doesn't really rhyme. There's no alliteration there, but that's the best I can come up with. The garden is calling my name. The sunshine outside right now is calling my name. And having this project done makes me feel so much better moving into the new season. And then a little further down the road, that holiday season, which will be here in the blink of an eye. I hope this video was encouraging or helpful or gently motivating if you did some work with me around your house, whether you have plans to host this holiday season or not. Thanks so much for spending a little part of your day here with me on my channel. I will not say happy holidays yet because I am not insane, but I will say God bless, and I'll catch you later.
Let there be rain, and there was rain. Let there be rain, and there